What a wicked web we weave. Oh yes, and there's a whole lot of deceiving going on this week. Trust me, you haven't seen anything, and this is literally not even the final episode yet. This season continues to truck along at a pace that blows my mind. If you haven't watched the most recent episode of Alien Earth, we're gonna spoil the heck out of it, so make sure you go off, watch that, then come on back. But now, oh yeah, we're getting into it. What's up, my know-it-alls? Well, it's time once more to talk about Alien Earth. I don't know that I've ever seen a show that has aliened better. And by that, I don't even mean like xenomorphs, because even Sigourney Weaver said that she loves the show. She's watching it. Specifically, her point was that they've made it about about other aliens, not just xenomorphs, not just what we're used to. But I don't know about anybody else. I would constantly was covering my eyes. Now, the title of this episode is called The Fly. Once more, similar to how we did 2 episodes ago, you spend most of the episode focusing on one creature that's in this scenario. And what you end up with is a focus on specifically this fly-like creature that you saw them bring in. It's set up, it's got this cocoon-like thing that's attached to the ceiling in its particular cell. That doesn't change the fact that everything's out to kill them. I mean, everything literally is out to do them in. But we get to see a very interesting, we come back immediately. We get to see a mediation by the 5. The 5, and no, we're not talking about like the 7 from The Boys. The 5 that we're talking about is the 5 major corporations. They have a legal representative who comes in and arbitrates all of their disputes. And so we get this really wonderful, fascinating moment where we get to see Boy Cavalier across the table from Yutani. You also get to see Kirsch is there, played by Timothy Oliphant, who, by the way, a lot more going on with Kirsch. The Kirsch mystery continues, and I do feel like there's most definitely something to be said for the way in which it is continuing. I feel like there's a lot of mystery they're laying the groundwork for, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna have time for the full reveals on this, which leads me to believe we'll probably end up getting a 2nd season. Boy Cavalier in this meeting is probably the most condescending I've ever seen a human being be. Yutani's doing her best to put up with it. Meanwhile, like I said, both the character of Kirsch and Morrow are there. And in this whole thing, Yutani's they exchange, there's like money involved, and they're gonna make a deal and whatnot. She's not happy because ultimately she's like, oh great, she thinks I'm gonna get my stuff back. It's gonna be great. He goes, yeah, I'll box it all up and this and that. After the 6-week quarantine for things that come from outer space.
Are we agreed then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. Okay. I'll box him up and send him back. You know, as soon as the quarantine's over.
And she's like, but it's law. Even they can't fight with the law that they've set up. So, and the mediator's like, okay, well, great, everything's good. And she's like, just shut up, just go away, whatever. And that's, but it's a wonderful moment. And so then she calls over Morrow and she's like, yeah, you got the go ahead. And she basically tells him to do his thing. So he's going to do his thing. When we get back to the island, there's a brief moment where the head of security for the island has a conversation with Arthur Sylvia, played by David Resdell. Okay, so Arthur, the husband and wife, Arthur Sylvia, Dame Sylvia, and there's a conversation that they have with the same head of security, where the head of security is like, hey, what's going on with such and such, talking about the young lady who attacked them last week. Nibs is what she goes by, played by Lily Newmark. And Nibs has clearly gone crazy somewhere. The trauma has done something and affected her programming somewhere and her subroutines and whatever else. And so they say, we need you to erase her, roll her back to right before she went to the tower, get rid of any of the trauma memory, whatever else. Arthur's like, you can't do this. You're going to alter. They're continuing the conversation about the right and wrong of what they're doing on the periphery of everything. And it's happening very fast. Not for us, but in general, like there's no time to have that, to absorb that information or think through the results of that scenario. So Arthur's sitting here telling them, oh, well, you can't do that. It's going to affect your personality. They can radically alter. Like at this stage, we don't know what we're doing, this and that.
We don't know what impact this would have on her identity, on her functioning psychology. We could be making it worse.
And dude's like, okay, fine. And he looks over at his wife, Dame Sylvia, and says, can you do it? And she goes, yes, I think I can. Because she's willing to do it. Because she's trying to preserve the project in general. She's trying to preserve them, as much of the kids as she thinks she can. And so dude says, okay, fine. You proceed, you're fired.
Whoa.
You can't be serious.
Hold on.
Absolutely. You disobeyed a direct order.
No, you need me.
No more, it seems. So pack your things. If you're still on the island at the end of the day, you'll be trespassing.
And dude's fired. So now we go back to when Hermit meets with Arthur. And Hermit's like, he's like, where you going? This is nice. He's like, oh, I'm taking off. On the other side of all this, Hermit had a conversation with his old comrades because he has to go do a thing. The entire time, Slightly is on the verge of actually trying to get him, because Slightly, remember, is being controlled. Slightly is the only asset that Morrow has. And so Morrow's telling him, you got to go do this. I need this done. Or you want to say goodbye to your mom? Okay, yeah, he's being that serious. So what happens is you get this whole tug and pull on all sides when it comes to Hermit's trying to leave if he can find a way to steal away. Arthur, who's already been kicked out and fired, helps give him a way potentially to get out. In all of this, you have Slightly, who's trying to figure out a way. Slightly's already committed that it's going to end up being Hermit, but in the end, Slightly, who can't do it, winds up having to deal with the only gift he's given, and that is the gift of Arthur, who walks in because he's looking for Toodles. Where's Toodles? Toodles is actually, you'll know Toodles better as the guy who's helping. He's helping Kirsch. He's the synth hybrid who wants to be a scientist, who likes sciencey stuff and is learning. So Kirsch sends him in to feed to feed the creatures, and while he's in there to feed the creatures, he accidentally rips the door off of the fly cage. Where the food goes. And so he can't release them to be able to get their food because he has to, so he opens the door, he goes in, whatever else. Little do you know, the goat is watching. And so what happens? At the right moment, right when Toodles is there doing something, kind of picks up, the goat headbutts the cage, causing Toodles to jump. The door closes, locking him in. He's stuck in there. These fly things land on him, attack him, and begin to spit acid on him. So they start melting his face, and they also, I think they attack him and maybe try to drink some of whatever he's got in him. I don't know. It's very gross, but they essentially melt him down. And that's what Arthur came to find, because Arthur has a very, very familial connection to these kids. He knew them and learned them when they were alive. And now they're this thing that he helped create, and he feels responsible. So he's the perfect patsy or target, if you will. And so Slightly inevitably opens up while dude is trying to pull Nib's body out of the thing, or Toodle's body out of the thing, he opens up the cage that has the face huggers, and of course face huggers are going to face hug, and they do, and it's tragic, and it's this whole thing. Now we're going to get to the part that I talked about in the very beginning. Kirsch, who was at the meeting with Boy Cavalier and is now flying back with him to the island. Kirsch has monitored everything. I need to know what Kirsch's game is, because Kirsch is fully aware that Slightly and Morrow have been talking. He was monitoring him. He has the same capability to communicate with Toodles. He sees the entire situation outside of the medical bay. I'm fairly certain he knows what happened to Toodles, and he sees and knows that Arthur has fallen prey to a facehugger. When Boy Cavalier looks back and asks him, hey, everything good? He's like,
Everything okay?
Affirmative.
and you're like, oh, you slimy, what is this deal? I gotta know what his deal is, and I think you're interested too, and I definitely am looking forward to finding more out about that. There's a whole storyline with Wendy, and she's coming to terms with the fact that everything that's happened with Nibs has happened, and so they're feeling a certain kind of way. She's trying to determine. She even tells Dame Sylvia, yeah, she tries to call her Wendy. She's like, my name is not Wendy. That's not who I am. And she realizes that, and she says, well, if there's a problem, I can help you solve it. She's like, what if you are the problem? I assume she meant you, the queens, you, like you all. All of you are the problem. There you go. Now you know. Nice have the battle. You have to be know-it-all yourself. This is an interesting journey they're taking us down. And that is the very reason why I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. This episode just works on a whole lot of levels. It's doing a lot of really good things. This series continues to give us the best version of what I believe a prequel series can be, which is, yes, it exists within the confines of the universe we were originally given. We see they've given us facehuggers, so they've paid off that thing. But more important than that, they're delving deeper into the world, into the lore. And you're finding out there's a lot of scary nonsense out in space, and none of it belongs here on Earth. I'm starting to realize the title of Alien Earth is much more not a misnomer, but a double entendre than anything else. It isn't just that this is about alien, like we know, xenomorphs. This is very much, Earth is becoming this like, here's the alien Earth. Here is the menagerie that is Earth, okay? And that I think is really is making for an interesting show. Comment below, tell me what you think. Am I right, am I wrong? Is my score just that nuts, crazy, whatever? I would totally love to hear what your thoughts are, and I know that I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going with this. It's exciting to say the least. So, all right, guys, I'm looking forward to seeing more and talking more about this. So I'll talk to you guys again next week. Never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all. Bye, guys.